right. Hey guys, it's me. We're back. Pop you on up here. Okay. I feel a little like less in your face. Here we go. Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. All right, it's been a whole weekend since we've been reading, so let's do a quick and dirty recap. All right. You always want to start by recapping what you have read, remembering, because it's going to help you make better connections and become a better reader. All right. So always take a minute, stop, think back to what you have read. Look in your response journal. You should be journaling as you go. Okay. Look at your predictions. Have any of them come true yet? My prediction was Esteban, right? That I was wondering if Ice took him. And it turns out, who took him? Ice. So my prediction came through. Didn't come through, it came true. I've been talking nonstop all day. My voice is like about to go. Okay. So use your response journals. Use them. You need them. You need to be able to keep it. Have some Post-it notes nearby. Today when I'm at school at our table, I will have some Post-it notes. If you don't have a booklet, grab one from me. Okay? It's going to help you. Let me help you become better learners. All right. So our friends have been going to the art room. The art room is the ARTT room, which is an acronym for a room to talk. An acronym is when you take the first letter of a word that is in a sentence and you make that into its own word. So ARTT, a room to talk. So they've been going in there and they get to spend 1 hour a day and just talk, right? It doesn't have to be about anything specific. One of the main characters, who is a girl named Haley, and Haley has fiery red hair. Remember, it's like day glow red. It's so bright. She's our main character, and she has asked if they could record it. Now, why did she want to record it? These are important things. These are good questions. Why does she want to record them? Why is it important to her? Now, you want to know why I think that these are important things to talk about and remember. It's because these give us better context clues about the characters. What has happened in Haley's life that we have already learned in such a short amount of time that would make her want to hold on to somebody's voice? Something happened in her life. What is it? That's right, her mom died. And where's her dad? That's right, her dad's in prison. So she doesn't have much to hold on to for memory's sake, for people, right? One of the things that they talked about too was that there was a kid in their class that used to be there, and all of a sudden he just left. He just disappeared. The family moved and they never heard from him again. And they talk about that idea of like things are, what did they say? It was hard. She couldn't remember what he sounded like, and that was a big deal, right? And these guys are all experiencing something pretty close and intimate together, and she wants to not forget that. She wants to be able to remember that. They also made a pact, right, that in 20 years they would all come back and together into the room and listen. That was another prediction that I had made, was that maybe they would actually come back and listen. I also have a Post-it note inside the book because there was a passage that I just absolutely loved. And so I put a Post-it note there so that I could remember that. All right. But here I am blabbering for 5 minutes already, and I haven't even started the story. Let's recap on the people too. Amari, Ashton, Thiago, Esteban, Holly, and Haley. Okay, there's the 6 kids in there. We know a little bit about Esteban. We know Esteban's dad was a factory worker and he has disappeared, right? That he's from the Dominican Republic. Learned that. We know that Amari likes to draw and rap because he likes to rap into the voice recorder. She had that beautiful description of him, right? Like his skin was so dark it almost looked blue underneath. So we know that. Ashton has the hair. He's got curly hair. They've talked about his hair. Don't know much about Tiago. And really all we know about Holly is she's an only child. Haley goes over there and her mom does her hair. She does it up in cornrows. I feel like one time she and Amari got in a fight and he said something about her being privileged and not really understanding. And I don't know what that means yet. I'm wondering if she comes from a better off family, maybe. I don't know. All right. Okay, so when we left last time, they were agreeing to come back in 20 years. To always remember like where your place was too when you haven't read something in a little while. Always just kind of look and see the couple pages before. Okay? All right, here we go. Chapter 15, my favorite number. Amari rested the recorder on top of his drawing pad. Then he pulled a green marker from his pack and started tracing it, his hand moving slowly and sure around the recorder. I think what's really messed up is the way everything changes all quick from one year to the next, you know? What do you guys know about that? I feel like you know just fine, right? The whole world changed in less than a year for us. Like, I don't mind my voice getting deep. He stopped drawing and looked up at Holly. Even if you don't hear it, it is. But it's like one day you're asking for some Batman sheets for your bed, and the next day somebody telling you Batman is for babies. Stuff like that. I thought about the way I had once loved purple so much, about how deeply I had believed in unicorns. And like hugging and stuff, Amari said. Boys don't hug each other. I mean, when you're little, you do. It's okay then. You always see the kindergarten kids running to each other and hugging like they haven't been together in years. That's what I love about little kids. They just get to be little kids. But when you get to be big, like us, all that goes away. It goes far away. Like once with my dad, I was about 8 years old and I went running to him, ready to jump in his arms like I always did. And he said, "Whoa, big man. You too grown for that now?" One day, yes. Next day, no. But, deep, like way down inside me, I want it back sometimes. I want to hug you, Esteban, like Red hugged you and said, "That sucks, bruh. I want to promise you your dad will be back soon and it was just a glitch in the road." That's what my dad called this moment we're living in. Glitch in the road. The Saturday before last, he wouldn't let me go anywhere. Not to Ashton's house, not to the corner store, not even to the stoop to hang out with my boys on the block. He kept saying, "You just sit tight, Amari, and watch all the TV you want. I'm going to talk to you later." Amari looked up at us. "All the TV I want?" That was like a zombie talking because my dad is the king of turn off that TV and read a book. My dad is the I'll throw that TV out the window kind of dad. You get the picture. We all nodded. I want to pause because it's important when you are reading to make connections. Now, I always say connections, right? You're taking two things and you're putting them together. We can all relate to what they are talking about right now. I don't know why his dad, I was just thinking as I was reading this, I should see when this was written because this is going to bring up any kind of COVID stuff. I don't know. I don't think so. I think this was written before then. It looks like 2018, right? So it's not anything to do with COVID. But we can all relate to this idea that like all of a sudden it was like things just change. And we can all relate to that idea that something that we used to think was so cool suddenly wasn't cool anymore. Right? Like, when does it stop being okay to play with My Little Ponies? When does it stop being okay to play with G.I. Joes? Right? Or can we do them forever? And my vote is we can do them forever, right? Like, let's all be kids forever. I love playing with toys. I love playing with Legos, right? But maybe some of your friends are starting to change a little bit, and for them it's not cool anymore. And that can be hurtful. And you can feel a lot from that. Right? And like with our families, do you remember like that day where it's like, it's okay right now, like we can't go out, we can't do things. We can make connections to that. Even though we don't know why Amari's dad wasn't allowed, like didn't let him out. We don't know why, because it's not during COVID time. But we can all make that connection. So write it down, stop and jot that. It is Monday, it is stop and jot day. Okay? So you put on your Post-it or whatever you have, it can just be on a piece of paper. There's my pencil. And you write down a connection that you're making. So I know what it's like to have things change overnight. It is a connection I can make. Now, because I am writing it down, I will forever remember that this happened in this story. My brain tells my hand to do something. And when I do that, I can remember better. I'm a better learner for it. I'm going to write page 65 on there. That's not a direction for stop and jots, but it's a good thing to do because it'll remind you where you found that information. And then I'm going to put it on my reader's response journal. And I have just stopped and jotted. We all nodded. So around 1 o'clock in the middle of me watching like my 100th TV show, my dad came in and said, "Walk me to the bank, Mar." That's his nickname for me. I found out it means see in Spanish. Mar, Tiago and Esteban said with an accent. Mar, the rest of us said softly. He just calls me Mar because it's short for Amari, but I like the short name has a meaning. Amari means strength if you use the Yoruba translation, but in Japanese it means not really. I think if we were Japanese, I'd be really mad about my name. Just saying. Not really, Esteban said. That's crazy, but funny. Hey, not really, Ashton said. Clean up your room because it's not really clean right now. The rest of us laughed. That's what's up, Mari said. But the cool thing is, that's not the translation, so everybody can let it go now. I guess we can, Holly said. But not really. Even Amari smiled and started talking again. Maybe in 20 years he'd be the mayor of New York, and we'd all be in the audience listening to him talk. He spoke like he was so sure of everything he said. Like all his life, someone had been saying, "You're right, Amari. You're smart, Amari. You're beautiful, Amari." So my mom was at spin class with her girls, he said, holding up quotation fingers. They're grown ladies, but she always calls them girls. Every Saturday, they go to spin class to work off the calories, and then they do brunch. I don't get it. That's all I'm saying. Why go sit on a bike for hours, then go eat pancakes and sausage and eggs and bacon and everything on a menu? That's crazy. Just go eat. That's what I do the Saturdays I have brunch with them. And you know what else is crazy, Ashton said? How come grown-ups always tell each other how young they look? And kids always want to be grown up already. So we lie and we say we're 10 when we're really 9, or that we've been 13 when we're really 12. But grown-ups lie too, Amari said. Facts, Tiago said. My mom's been 30 for like 10 years. Mine too, Holly said. And don't let her see some gray hairs. It's like she's seen a ghost all screaming and whatnot, then running around the house looking for tweezers to pluck it out. Wrinkles too, Ashton laughed. My mom is like, "Oh my God. Ashton, please tell me you can't see this wrinkle on my chin." And of course I can see it. It's like the size of a river, but I just go, I don't see anything. You know that's the right move, Amari said. Or else. Everybody nodded. I don't know anything about mothers and wrinkles, but I knew that when my uncle saw his first first saw some gray hair on his head, he went into his room, closed the door, and played sad songs on his guitar for hours. Anyway, Amari said, me and my dad started walking to the bank, and he goes to me, look, Mar, I want to talk straight with you. And I was like, yeah? Because that was strange. I mean, me and my dad, we always just talk straight. Nothing crooked about it. So he says to me, you're in 5th grade now. Happened so fast. I didn't even see it coming. And I had to smile when he said that. It has to be at least 2 years since I last sat in his lap. Then my dad said, this country is going a little bit crazy. I know it's just a glitch in the road, but I want you to know there are things you can't do anymore. And I'm like, what kind of stuff? Because I had thought the older you get, the more stuff you can do, not can't. He said, can't be running around the playground with that water gun for now. Or that Nerf gun, or that little light up keyring gun, that thing you got from your aunt last year. You can't even carry that in your pocket anymore. Then my dad goes, you get me, right, Mar? And I just nodded. I was so mad I didn't even look at him. I'm going to pause for just a second because I'm having a really deep reflection, okay? When I started this chapter and Amari was talking, and he was talking about the change that happened, and I instantly went to COVID. That was my reality. That's mine, right? Because my skin is white, my life is very different. Things don't impact me personally in the same way as they impact some of you or some of my friends of color. And right now, when he started talking about you can't go out with the water gun or that Nerf gun, I instantly knew exactly what was happening in history right now. And this is just 2 years ago, and it's happening every day in our streets. But that is this idea that people of color, especially young Black men, are targeted for different things, right? That a white looking lady like myself don't have to experience. I don't have to worry about walking down the street with a hood on my head, right? But some of you might have had this conversation with your families that you can't do that right now. Can't do that yet or anymore. So I want to take a moment because I just realized my privilege of having lighter skin made me not think about history in the same way, because I don't have to have that conversation with my kids, right? Because they are fair-skinned. The ICE stuff I thought of instantly because I am a Latina. So like for me, that is a very real and present danger. So I just want to take notice and mentioning, right? And this is part of all this work that we're doing when we're talking about social justice and racial justice. It's about being able to see things from other people's shoes. Okay. And so I am acknowledging right now that like I couldn't see the whole picture just now because it's not a picture that is personally, even though I'm out there champion and standing on the lines with you guys, was not the first thought in my head, and it should have been. So just a noticing. So you can't carry that in your pocket anymore, right? Then my dad goes, you get me, right, Mar? And I just nodded. I was so mad I didn't even look at him. Why do you think he's mad? Mari looked around at us. I knew what he was talking about. I'd seen the papers and heard Holly's mom and dad talking about a boy who got killed for playing with a toy gun. Holly's mom said that it wouldn't have happened if that boy was white, and Holly's dad had nodded. The cops who shot that kid in the park didn't even ask him any questions, Amari said. just came in the park and shot him right away. And when his big sister, tried to run to him, they didn't even let her go to him. How come they didn't let her? Ashton looked surprised, like maybe this was his first time hearing the story. In case anybody's wondering, this is the story of Tamir Rice. Okay, and this is very real. Tamir Rice was a young boy. He was 12 years old, and he got shot for playing with a toy gun in a park. Remember, history is not pretty, but it is important for us to acknowledge it and know so that we can learn from it. Amari shrugged. I don't even know, he said. It's crazy. My sister's 17. She would lose her mind if anyone ever even looked at me funny. That's how crazy she is about me. When I heard about the boy and his sister, it made something in me twist up, made me want to punch a wall, or even worse. That boy could have been me, or Esteban, or Tiago. Or me, Ashton said. Mari didn't say anything to Ashton. He acted like he hadn't heard him and kept talking. Wondering if Ashton's white. It's a wondering I'm having. My mom never liked me playing with guns anyways, Amari continued. So I knew my days of playing with them were numbered, but I didn't know it would all come this quick. You know, like with the hugs. Felt like I woke up one day and it was just corny to do it. But playing with my guns wasn't corny yet. A water gun fight on a hot day is still the best thing ever. Facts, Tiago said. When you're all hot and somebody comes out of nowhere and starts squirting you, you act mad, but son, I gotta say, that's the best, bro. For real, Amari pounded Tiago's fist. And that Nerf gun you got, eh? Amari said. The one that shoots like 50 feet? That's power. Yeah, Ashton said. Remember when we were shooting the dead leaves off the trees? Mari nodded. We were like, pow, pow, pow. Some serious sharpshooting, Ashton said. They both got quiet. I could tell by their faces that they were back in the park with their Nerf guns, aiming them at the trees. No disrespect to you, Ashton, but it sort of sucks that you can still go to the park with that gun and not have to worry about getting killed. It's okay, Ashton said, but he started biting on his bottom lip. I can't stand guns, so that makes me kind of think that my prediction might be closer to the truth, right? That maybe Ashton is white and that's why he can't do it, or he can do it, but the others can't. I can't stand guns, Holly said. I never saw one in real life and never want to. Nobody's talking about real guns, Amari said. Then he looked at Ashton. Ashton, you're like one of my best friends. You know that, right? Ashton nodded. Same. But that kid getting killed and then my dad saying I couldn't play with guns anymore, that made me hate you. But I didn't do, not you. I mean, I didn't hate you. I don't know how to say it. I do, I said. It's not fair. It's not fair that you're a boy and Ashton's a boy and that he can do something you can't do anymore. That's not freedom. Amari nodded. Yeah, to what Red's saying. You can just play with your Nerf gun all you want, anywhere you want, and no cop is going to run up and shoot you. Amari stopped talking. He got up and he walked over to the window, taking the recorder with him. Then, in slow motion, he made the hand that he wasn't holding it into a gun, straightened his arm, and aimed outside. The cops shot that boy in the stomach, he said, with real bullets, not soft ones that bounce off. And the boy fell in the playground, and then he died. Amari kept his gun hand pointed at the window. His voice dropped down low. And maybe, if it was a windy day, the swings just kept on swinging, making that sad, whining sound that swings make when they're still moving and nobody's on them. And that boy should have been running and playing and jumping off those swings. Whenever I jump off a swing, it feels like I'm flying. It feels like I'm more free than anything. That boy should have been having that feeling. He shouldn't have been feeling like he was dying. He should have been feeling like he was free. That boy's name is Tamir Rice. I want us all to say his name. It's so hard because it's so not fair. And I'm sorry I'm getting all choked up, but it's real and it's just not fair. I'm going to stop there for today. Do me a favor. Just make sure you say his name. Okay? Tamir Rice died violently and for no reason. He was murdered by police officers who were supposed to be there protecting us. And that moment changed so much for everybody. And for those of us with white skin or that are white, it's important for us to understand this privilege that we have this ability, that we can go and we can do things that other people can't. So when we talk about that idea of freedom and whether or not we are all free, for those of you that do think that we are all free, I want you to take this moment, this very real, very sad, very fresh, raw moment, and think about, are we all free? If some of us can go and do something when others can't, is that freedom? I don't know. That's heavy. Soups. Didn't see it coming. It's kind of fun not knowing what's happening in the book, right? I can't prepare myself. So you guys get to see what happens in real time. I'm very emotional sometimes. All right, friends. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. Yeah. I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to you in a little bit. We're going to go see each other. Come visit me. 3:00. School.